So we're here in Hebron. I'm going to be doing a little quick tour about the importance of the Marathon Machpelah and the Jewish presence in Hebron. So come with me, I'll show you around a little bit. Not a lot of people know this, but Hebron is actually one of the oldest Jewish cities in the world. It can actually go back 3,000 years, even more, even maybe 4,000 years to the time of Abraham. And we actually learn in the story when Abraham, in Patriachs in the book of Genesis, Abraham needed to buy a plot. He needed to buy a cave to bury his wife Sarah. Because back in the days, you would bury someone, you would bury them in a cave. That was the way that it was done. So this is actually the burial plot that Abraham actually buried. And the building was actually built by King Herod about 2,000 years ago. And this is actually one of the most interesting buildings that you actually ever see, because the building itself was actually not destroyed by the Romans. There's many buildings that are totally destroyed or half destroyed. This is one of the few buildings that remain for 2,000 years. Come up here. For many times, for many years, this was under Roman. It was under Roman rule. Then it was under the Byzantine rule. Then when it was under the Muslim rule, it was forbidden for Jews to even approach it. However, Jews protested. They wanted to go pray inside. They felt connected to it. So they only said that they would be allowed to pray at the 7th step. So if anyone would go past the 7th step, the Muslims would not allow that to happen, and they get a beating. So this is actually where the 7th step was. I'm going to walk you through this way. There used to be a building on this side that would be the 7th step, that would be outreached out to the wall. So after the IDF took over, it destroyed it. Why did it destroy it? Because there was a commander, his name was called Gandhi. And when he was young, he actually came to pray, and he passed the 7th step. So the Muslims beat him up, and they threw him out. And when he came back here, he said, I don't want that building around. So he actually had that whole thing demolished. And even when the Jews came in, the Jews were actually quite afraid to overtake this place also, because they didn't want to upset the Muslims. So during 1967, when the Jews were winning they already took over Jerusalem, Rabbi Shlomo Goren, who was the leader of the chief rabbis in the army, came down here with his Uzi and just another guy in the Jeep. They came through the door, and he wanted to come in through the door. And the Muslims said, no, it's locked. It's locked? No problem. He takes out his Uzi, he starts shooting at the door. He wanted to move it open. The Muslims said, no, don't shoot, open up. They opened up, they let him come in. And the one who was in charge of the army at the time, his name was Moshe Dayan. He wanted to return the whole Marathon Machpelah, the cave of the Patriarchs, back to the Muslims. So he told Rav Shlomo Goren not to allow Jews to go in there and pray. And if they were going to go in there, they would take off their shoes. So Rav Shlomo Goren refused that. And because of the merit of Rav Shlomo Goren, we're able to go inside and pray today. So if you guys have any questions about the Marathon Machpelah?
No, not yet.
What about you? No questions? So basically, to pray in there was actually really tough in the beginning, to actually go inside and pray. The Jews only had a small amount of time to actually pray, then they switched it to Muslims. Nowadays we have a division where Jews and Muslims have the same amount of time they can pray during the day. It closes around 10 o'clock. This time like that, you'll get a minion inside. If you want to guys go in, you're more than welcome to.
Quick question. Can you tell me about this garden over here behind you?
Yeah, that garden is it's called the 7th Step Garden. It's as a dedication to the many Jews that would try to go into the Marathon Machpelah, and they would only allow to pray at the 7th step. So that's a dedication to that garden.
And then what's that little structure right by the 7th step? That little
pavilion?
No, there's like a little how do I describe it?
There's like a green.
It's like a little arch. It's like a little arch.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
That was part of the old building that was part of the 7th step that the Muslims added on.
Okay.
As you can see, first it was a Jewish building. Then the Christian there's a little, it looks like a monastery.
Yeah.
So that used to be a Byzantine church, and then it was turned from a Byzantine church, and then the Muslims added the minaret, and they added that building, which was also part of Islam, and they tried to convert it more into a mosque. And every time that Islam takes over a place, they try to convert everything into a mosque or try to convert it to their own religion.
All right.
All right. So let's go in.
That's it.
All right.